Welcome, everybody, to the Genesis Mindset. In today's episode, I will be talking about the Pulsechain LUSD. So, this is another quote unquote stable coin that's on its way to the Pegenning, and it's obviously causing a massive stir in the market at the moment. And that has a lot to do with the gigantic boom in the price. So, what we're going to be doing today is doing a bit of a deep dive into the pros and cons of the PLUSD and all the speculation that's surrounding it. So let's get straight into the episode. So today's episode, PLUSD joins a Pegenning. PLUSD deep dive speculation. We all love a bit of speculation. So, that's what we're all about. And again, we've got to make sure we say Pegenning, not the other word. Okay. So my first look with PLUSD really came from my channel. So obviously, as my channel continued to grow, I was talking about pStables, I was talking about the Atropa coins, and I would have people come and ask me about PLUSD. And so I saw this consistency of energetic momentum amongst the market. People on Twitter were coming to me, people in Telegram, people in the comment section. And I did a little bit of looking around and I compared it to all the pStables, and I noticed that it actually wasn't really moving in unison with the rest of the pStables. So I basically dismissed it, not because I thought, it was no good or whatever. I just thought, well, again, I can only focus on so many things, and this doesn't seem to tick the boxes. It's not moving. It's not liquidity bonded with the rest of the pStables. So I thought, well, it's probably not worth the attention. And I also looked into the supply, and it had trillions. It actually had trillions. I think at the time that I saw it, it was 13 trillion, which is more than the total market cap of all of cryptocurrency, I would say. So I thought, doesn't really make any logical sense for it to peg if there's a supply of $13 trillion. So I really kind of brushed it under the carpet. But one thing that I am noticing, when I hear the market giving out these signals continuously, I really need to start paying attention. And the reason is it can do things like this. So I had this massive boost in price, which I'll measure it soon, but yeah, I mean, we've knocked out a whole zero, so you've got more than a 10x here. From the very, very bottom when it really dumped down. So this is a very interesting dynamic that's playing out in Pulsechain. So obviously, if you're unfamiliar with the pStables, if you're new to the channels, Atropa and pStables, I've covered this a lot. And the Atropa dev says, I view all pStables as being required for the system to work, referencing Pulsechain and Atropa in general, so including for Pulsechain to be a success. And so the only elements important to the health of the Atropa ecosystem is the health of the pStables. So because I covered this a lot, it took me a long time to learn all about this. Still not an expert, touch wood. Maria 414 Dev said they'll all arrive at the $1 around about the same time. And again, when I was looking at all the different pStables, there's basically 5 pStables which are moving in unison. So you have PDAI, you have PUSDC, you have PUSDT, you have PUSDP, and then PFRAX. And PLUSD, it just wasn't moving in unison, and it just didn't look like it was part of the pool of pStables. So I thought, well, there's no point. It's actually not. It was just not in my consciousness. Whoops, sorry. It was not in this. So I wasn't really for or against it. I just thought, it's not there, so I'm not going to waste my time. And really, I thought I was doing the right thing by telling people, just be careful, go with caution. Whether or not it's true, I don't know. I just told them it's not. It doesn't have the characteristics as the other pStables, so go with caution. But we're in cryptocurrency. We're in a world of speculation and degeneracy. So people are really speculating, and Twitter has really come alive with all the PLUSD. So I'm seeing every day. I'm seeing every day T-Bird is posting stuff about PLUSD. So, okay, so now all the supposedlies. So since this price boom, some of the things that's actually caused this price boom, supposedly, again, this is all speculation. So 90%, although I do believe it's more. I have heard numbers that are higher than this, but this is just from one of my boys, so links.pls. He basically gave this information to me. I've been looking into it in some of the various communities that I'm in on Telegram as well. Again, it's very difficult because people are particularly within the PDAI community are really, I wouldn't say they're there's certainly people that I've noticed are really against it because it's detracting away from the attention to PDAI, and it's going to move economic energy away from PDAI into PLUSD. But the market's going to do what it's going to do. So for me, there's no point fighting against it. I'm just here presenting what I'm seeing. So I'm not saying, PLUSD is the one now, forget all the pStables. And I'm not saying forget PLUSD and just go for the pStables. I'm saying this is what I'm seeing. This is what the market is doing. This is what I'm telling you. And so the mint function has been removed. There is a large entity that we're familiar with that picked up 1 trillion LUSD and paired it with wrapped Ethereum a few days ago. So it was about 9 to 10 days ago, maybe even a little bit more. So I think I know who this large entity is, but I'm not going to confirm that. So yes, there is a large entity that people are familiar with. The LUSD dev on Ethereum side asked if Richard Hart could disable the mint. So all of this, again, is just speculation. Whether or not this is true, it's not fully confirmed yet, because sometimes if you ask questions in there, you ask the hard questions, people are getting banned. And it's like, it reminds me of all of my experiences with these communities. When you ask the hard questions, when I was asking the hard questions in Atropa, I got banned. As soon as I started interacting with Tangang, I got banned. So it's like, if you ask the hard questions, you get banned. So you pretty much just have to accept and go along with the cult mentality and just be like, yeah, everything's going to go up. It's going to go exactly how we want it to. So that's what we saw there. So there is speculation that it will catch up with the pStables in market cap, but not price. So this is one of the speculations that's actually going around. Again, at the moment as well, what's really caused the price to skyrocket as well is the amount of tokens that have been burnt. So there's a ton of tokens that have been burnt already. And so this is also with buy pressure causing the price to actually move. And again, if there's a 13 trillion supply, pegging it to $1 doesn't make sense. It means we actually need like $13 trillion, which is more than the total cryptocurrency market cap, to flow into it to peg it. So it doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. But if all these tokens get burnt, I could see that being a potential. Having said that, a lot of people are actually speculating that this could be something that more or less pegs to like cents or 0.00 cents. So it will peg and perform a different role within the ecosystem rather than pegging to $1. So that's a really interesting dynamic. That's not to say that it's not going to peg to $1. That is not to say that it's not going to peg to $1. This is just what I'm hearing. This is what I'm seeing. So now what we'll do is I'll go over to the charts again. So let's just actually see the percentages that it's moved and why it's really fascinating at the minute, particularly as a liquidity provider. So one of the first things that I noticed when I looked into this again, the volume, man, 1.2 million. So this is Pulse. This is the Pulse chain. Well, this is actually at the moment to USD, but it needed to break out of this box. So I did a stream the other day with KSB TV, and I was saying that it needed to break out of this box. And again, I'm not a TA guy or anything like that. These are just the things that I'm observing. But it needed to break out of this kind of box that it's been stuck within for, well, since August of last year. The fact that it had all this buying going on and then this epic dump. I mean, that's just a wall of red almost. I mean, yeah, that's almost like hex 19.98%. But then from the low, if we go all the way from the lows, so if you want to use the wicks as an example, just to see the type of gains that it's done, but I probably wouldn't really measure from the wicks. Every single time I do this, I'm like, where is the one that I'm looking for? No. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Here we go. Measures. How can I? All right. I'm just gonna. Jesus. All right, you beauty. That's gonna make things a hell of a lot easier. So I've got my favorites here now. Oh, it's just like Trading View. Ayo. Okay, winner. So yep, there you go. We just figured something out on screen. So just like Trading View. Okay, so I'll put all my favorite tools there so I don't have to go through that process. So from that very bottom, that's 110, that's 111x from the very bottom, but I wouldn't really measure it from there because Yeah, no one's really picking it up there. But from the bottom of this kind of zone, it's been, you've almost got a 40x to the top of that wick. So now if we compare it to Pulsechain, the chart looks a bit different, obviously, because it's compared to Pulsechain, but it's still doing some sweet stuff. So this is interesting. The fact that it basically did nothing, was sideways, had this little moment here in December where there was something that went on. And then again, now some fluctuations, and then it kind of stabilized again. So I find this little dynamic to be quite interesting, that it really didn't do anything. I guess no one was really trading it. It was dead. And then we had this massive volume candle that happened here. Obviously, that would have happened on the back of all of this speculation that happened. Probably, yeah, I mean, the 17th of May, maybe this is when the minting, everyone realized, or the idea that the minting function went off. But what's interesting here, 17,000 transactions and 1.2 million in volume. So this is a beast. This is a beast for liquidity providing. The problem is, I bought a little here and created a liquidity pool just to see what it's going to do, because that volume is delicious. This is what you want. You want volume, but with the liquidity pool that I made, it's not a huge liquidity pool, but basically I only have like a very small percentage, right? So you're not going to get a lot of the fees, because it would be already a massive liquidity pool. But nevertheless, if you are interested in liquidity providing, this pool and LUSD to PDAI is another really good one. So as a matter of fact, I'm just going to bring that one up just so you guys can have a look. So we'll bring this up. So LUSD, here we go, to Pulsechain. Sorry. So it's really dropped. The volume has really dropped. So even the other day, it would have been, I think it was about 2.9 million, and this was 1 point something million. So the volume's really kind of halved on all of these. So what's that telling me as well? It's telling me possibly the momentum has really shifted, and I don't mind. I really don't mind. I don't care if it goes up. This is the beauty of being a liquidity provider, man. So I'm getting volume as the price is going up. I'm going to add this bad boy to my favorites too. I'm going to be getting this volume. I'm getting all this volume as the price is going up. And you know what? It might just peak out here. It might fizzle out and just kind of die, and then come back down here, form like a new low, because there's all these people who are going to have all this locked liquidity. And then all of that time, I'm collecting yield from the sellers, from the buyers, from the sideways action. So I have no concern whatsoever. And if it just does this, and then maybe if it's getting bonded in liquidity with certain things, and it just kind of slowly trickles up sideways eventually, I don't mind that at all. I'm going to be getting all that yield. So whether it goes to $1 or 10 cent or whatever it's going to be, I don't mind. As a liquidity provider, I can still generate yield from this with a very small position. So yeah, of course you want it to go up, but wow. Okay. So in any case, there you go. So this is, yeah. And then it's like I said, it's another story to PDAI. So to die on Pulsechain. The interesting thing about this as well is it does actually have, the website didn't work, but it has a Twitter and a Telegram. So the Twitter, I wanted to show this. So if you're into angel signs, I'm not into angel signs or anything like that. Whoops, I just kind of, 1111 and 333. 1111's really never really been anything for me, but 33 has always been a very significant number for me. Oh, a new follower just now. So there we go. So yes, the angels have just shut on us right there. So, and the Telegram is highly active. So over 1,200 members, and the king of pStables. I love it. I love it. So the PDAI crew would have come in here. The Atropa crew, I know there's some people that are quite upset with this, but it is what it is. The market's going to do what the market is going to do. So yes, now we're going to go into this little tweet storm. So I bookmarked this and I haven't read it. I actually like to read these things on stream because it's kind of good for me to go over it and process it as I'm talking to you guys as well. So the complexities of LUSD and Pulsechain. And I picked this because whenever I see a well-structured post like this, it's somebody who's put a lot of thought into it and somebody who generally knows what they're talking about. So Liquidity USD is a decentralized stablecoin on Ethereum created by the Liquidity protocol. When Richard Hart forked Ethereum to create Pulsechain, So all projects were copied over. So the article explores the risks and the hype factor around the fork stablecoins. So the liquidity protocol allows users to mint LUSD by depositing Ethereum as collateral, maintaining a minimum collateral ratio of 110%. The system uses over-collateralization, a stability pool, and a robust redemption mechanism to keep LUSD pegged to the US dollar. Collateralization. Users deposit Ethereum and mint LUSD. Stability pool holds LUSD to absorb liquidations, maintaining stability and protecting the peg. Redemption allows users to redeem LUSD for Ethereum at face value, earning LUSD does not fall significantly, ensuring LUSD does not fall significantly below its $1 peg. So if you're familiar with liquid loans on Pulsechain, for example, you'll be familiar with all these concepts and the way that you can use the stability pool. So the protocol relies on accurate price feeds from oracles. Forking to Pulsechain, okay, so however, several issues have started. So it's just talking about the fork, the copies, the oracle issue. The PLUSD on Pulsechain still references Ethereum price feeds instead of Pulsechain feeds. This discrepancy allows incorrect collateral valuations, leading to over-minting and instability. So this is an issue that I heard about with the Oracle, and an issue that I heard where someone was just ridiculously minting the absolute crap out of PLUSD. Immutable contracts. Liquidity's design is immutable and decentralized with no admin keys. While this provides security on Ethereum, it poses problems on Pulsechain, where contract modifications are necessary but not impossible. So obviously, if you've been following the PDAI narrative and you've been following the narrative about the PMaker DAO and how there's a large entity that's been basically modifying the contract with PMaker, with the P vaults, and starting to fill up the P vaults, it is possible. Now, whether it's possible with PLUSD remains to be seen. Whether it actually has been happening or not, I'm not too sure on this one, sorry. False exploitation claims reports suggesting bad actors exploited PLUSD by minting excessive amounts are misleading. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's what I mentioned before, but this is misleading. The real issue stems from the misaligned oracles, which the team has not addressed, instead blaming non-existent exploits. All right, so now the comparison with PDAI. Unlike PLUSD, the forked version of DAI on Pulsechain, in other words, PDAI, has structured mechanisms to maintain its peg. Notably, the Atropa ecosystem supports the PDAI peg and operates it in a transparent way, adding credibility. So just on that, the Atropa ecosystem, to my knowledge, is providing a collateral backing. Whether it can actually peg the PDAI, the DAI on Pulsechain, remains to be seen. That might be something that actually has to happen within the MakerDAO, the Pulse MakerDAO contract. Moreover, solid proof shows Richard Hart's wallets interacting with MakerDAO vaults on Pulsechain, lending weight to PDAI by indicating direct involvement and support from influential Pulsechain figures. So now onto the risks. Investors should be cautious with PLUSD on Pulsechain due to oracle misalignment. So the reliance on Ethereum price feeds undermines the protocol's functionality. So it really needs to be referencing Pulsechain, not Ethereum price feeds. So this is a major issue, because obviously the Ethereum price feeds are very different. Well, for one, the LUSD is pegged to $1. The Ethereum price is different to what it is on the Pulsechain side. Immutable contracts, the inability to adapt forked contracts to Pulsechain's unique ecosystem. So this is again going over what the PMaker vaults and how the PMaker contract has actually been interacted with, whereas this hasn't been interacted with to the best of our knowledge. False exploitation claims, misleading reports, blaming exploits instead of addressing the real oracle issue. So they're really sidestepping the main issue here. So these are things just to be aware of. Conclusion: the design and operation challenges the PLUSD on Pulsechain, particularly its reliance on incorrect price feeds and immutable contracts. Suggests maintaining its peg may not be feasible. Investors should be wary of speculative hype and promises of peg restoration without clear, actionable plans. Thorough research and understanding of the structural differences between the original and forked versions are essential before making investment decisions. The presence of the Atropa ecosystem and Richard Hart's involvement with MakerDAO vaults provides PDAI with a stronger foundation, making it a more credible option compared to PLUSD. Investors should consider these factors when evaluating stablecoin investments on Pulsechain. So PLUSD, potential future stablecoin, or just a meme thanks to its broken oracle. So great little tweet. And then this is what we're talking about here. Why I have a feeling that you have DAI on Pulsechain bag, but not also LUSD on Pulsechain bag. Some FUD there was in PDAI. So there was a, excuse me, there was a lot of this FUD in the early days of PDAI. So people are comparing this now to PDAI. This is what PDAI had to come up with, had to come up against. The complexities that you're talking about are there with every P-copy project. The key is the community and the builders like Sunny Detect. FUD is always bullish. Thanks for, here we go, T-Bird. So T-Bird he must be in the billions. He must be in the billions of PLUSD because I'm seeing him post like every day about PLUSD. So I read the 4 LUSD contracts. This is what I see. Functions normally, so never any exploits. Someone liquidated everything after the fork. It's running in reserve mode, 150% collateral required. The current oracle is indeed feeding correct Pulsechain price. All OG owner addresses still have control. DJ Khaled, my boy DJ Khaled. So he covers this on his YouTube channel as well. DJ Khaled, awesome YouTube channel, just for the record. Awesome young dude. Thanks for writing this. PDAI is king of pStables. PLUSD is high risk. Always told people this, but I love to speculate. All right. So with that, what do you guys actually think? So again, my position really remains the same. It wasn't initially tied into the pStables. So this doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work. All I just see with the pStables is they've had almost a year now to basically get ahead of where PLUSD is. There's already a whole collateral backing with the Atropa ecosystem. What can actually be the potential with PLUSD? I'm not too sure. Is it worth speculating on? Absolutely it is. Of course it is. I mean, if I was listening to people when they were telling me about it, if I paid attention to the universe, it wasn't just one dude telling me. I had it coming from everywhere, which means that there's this potential energy that's bubbling and waiting to explode. And then what do we see in the price? Explosion. Because all it takes is speculation in cryptocurrency. There's nothing real about what we're doing at the moment. It's all just speculation. It's all just hype. We are all just speculating where things can go. So with that, it's absolutely, in my opinion, something, not financial advice. This is something definitely worth speculating on and just providing liquidity with and seeing where it can go. Is it going to go to $1? I have no idea. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. I lean to say no, but I don't really know. I said exactly the same with the pStables at the beginning. I leaned neutral and then I started to lean more towards, yes, it actually is a potentiality with everything that I was seeing with 99 Capital, with everything that I was seeing within the Atropa ecosystem. So what do you guys actually think? Is it possible to peg? And not, oh, I've got a bag, it's going to peg. I've got a bag too. If it pegs, I'm never going to have to work for the rest of my life. Well, yeah, I'm still going to continue to work, but man, I'll just be able to be giving like millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars out to like everybody. It's insane. So it doesn't seem logical simply because even now, the amount of supply that would already be owned by the market would, I would imagine, be in the trillions. There'll be people with billions and billions. So there'll be people with hundreds of billions, I would imagine. It doesn't seem logical for someone to be able to take out hundreds of billions of dollars out of the ecosystem. So I don't know what you guys think, but speculation is where it's all at. This is the fun of it. So I'll leave you with this quote from Warren Buffett. Again, because Warren Buffett is a goat of investing. So he has a mindset that I want to emulate. And I really need to fix something to do with my camera quality. My face keeps flashing red. If there are great opportunities abound, take advantage. Use your best judgment to cash in on a plethora of opportunities, even if they all don't work. So with that mindset, this is an opportunity. Is it going to work? Who knows? But you put your skin in the game. I've put my skin in the game with the pStables. I've put my skin in the game with PLUSD. I've put my skin in the game with a variety of different tokens. It's just speculation. I believe there's potentials there. Not all of them are going to hit. Not all of them are going to be home runs. Some of them are going to be home runs. All you really need is just one home run. You need that one home run, and it's going to take care of all of your portfolio. But nevertheless, like, what's more exciting than the narratives that are playing out on Pulsechain? I saw some comments that people were really not liking Pulsechain and they were really disappointed in it. And it made me sad. It really made me sad. I have nothing but optimism for Pulsechain. I have nothing but love for everything that's happening so far. So it's a very exciting ecosystem. So with that, I'll leave you with that. And also remember, World Meditation Day. If you want to join a 45-minute online meditation, it's completely free. It's going to be 9 a.m. Eastern time, American Eastern time. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Check that out. And with that, thank you very much. Take care.